East Highland High School reacts to Lexi Howard's controversial play in the Season 2 finale of HBO's Euphoria. Last week's penultimate episode, The Theatre and Its Stubble, ended with Lexi's play featuring a homoerotic weight room scene that seems to poke fun at Nate Jacobs, Jacob Elordi, who storms out of the theatre with Cassie, Sydney Sweeney, following. He is so mad that Cassie's sister wrote that about him that he breaks it off with her, as a spurned Cassie heads back to the theatre, with a cryptic to be continued card leading up to Sunday night's finale, with the preview teasing something terrible happening to Fesco, Angus Cloud. The episode begins with Fesco texting Lexi that he's on his way, while Custer, Tyler Chase, says he has to talk about everything, telling that the cops found Mouse's body. Faye, Chloe Cherry, drops a glass and goes to pick it up, telling Fesco to shh while she's on the ground. Faye tells Custer that he told her that Lori, Martha Kelly, killed Mouse, but Custer says he never said that and tells Faye to shut the FK up. Custer says they have to figure out what they're going to say. When Ashtray, Javon Walton, stabs Custer in the neck, Fesco covers his mouth and signals Faye and Ashtray to be quiet. When Custer dies, Ashtray hands him Custer's phone and drops it in a cup of water. The episode cuts to some time earlier where Fesco and Lexi are talking on the phone, where Fesco reveals he wants to be a farmer, like some Little House on the Prairie type ST. Lexi reveals her very specific plan about having 3 kids in her 30s, and when they're grown up she can be serious about her writing. Lexi starts watching Little House on the Prairie when she asks if Fesco is on Instagram or Twitter, but he says he's not, and he thinks people reveal too much on there. "I want to peel back the layers," Fesco says, adding he likes her a lot because they don't have a lot in common. Lexi thinks they have a lot in common, but Fesco says those aren't interests, but character traits, as they both reveal they're glad they became friends. Back in the present day, Fesco is having a bit of a breakdown over killing Custer, while back at the theatre, Lexi checks her texts and gets sad. Cassie is back where we left her, staring at the play from outside, as Rue spots her and makes a weird face before Cassie walks back into the theatre, with her mother Susie, Alana Ubach, spotting her, saying, "Oh God." Cassie keeps walking down the aisle as everyone starts looking at her as she steps on the playbill for Our Life as the title card is revealed. Cassie goes right up on stage and starts complaining about the play, as she drags Lexi on stage. Cassie starts screaming at Maddie for making a play to humiliate her, when Susie comes up on stage while Cassie says she'll kill Lexi. "I'm the one who takes risks. I'm the one who falls in love, not you, Lexi. You never even effing lived. That's why you're able to stand up here and judge all of us," Cassie screams. "Okay, well if that makes me a villain, so effing be it. I can play the villain," Cassie says. Cassie asks if this is the part of the play where her character steals McDee's character's boyfriend, but Lexi insists that's not in the play. Maddie yells from the seats that it is now as chaos ensues before the play continues. Briefly. Cassie attacks one of the actresses on stage when Maddie rushes up on stage as Kat, Barbie Ferreira, chases after her. Maddie slaps Cassie on stage and starts running after her while people in the crowd start recording. Maddie slams Cassie against a wall backstage while Susie insists that a stagehand closes the curtains as the audience waits. Rue reveals in voiceover that, a few days earlier, she stopped by Elliot's, Dominic fight. She tells him he was walking around the neighborhood and she wanted to tell him to go FK yourself for being a snitch. Still, she reveals that he might have accidentally saved her life. However, it got to be whatever it is, thank God it did, because I wouldn't be here to tell you that I forgive you, Rue says. She adds that feels really nice because she has a lot of sorries to give out but not a lot of I forgive yous. He asks if she's on anything and she says she's not, as he asks if she talked to Jules, but she isn't. Yeah, that one's gonna take me a little bit longer, she says, as Elliot starts to sing a song for her as he plays along on his guitar. Rue is clearly moved by the song as he finishes and says he's still working on it. He asks her if they can still be friends as Rue reminds him, saying that he doesn't think they are good for each other. Back at the theater, Rue gives Elliot a nod, while Lexi's stage manager says she's telling people that was all part of the show. Lexi says it's the only thing she has created and it's a disaster, and the stage manager says it could be worse, it could be boring. She says how many plays in the history of East Highland have started a riot, as they agree the show must go on. She goes out to face her cast, who are all waiting eagerly, as Rue starts cheering for Lexi, as the whole theater starts cheering for her, as the cast listens from backstage. "Let's effing do this," Lexi says to her cast as the curtains open, as Lexi tells the crowd they are experiencing some technical difficulties. She thanks everyone for being there and says they will need a few minutes, as she tells them what Fesco said about her play, that sometimes people need their feelings hurt. Back at their place, Fesco slaps Ashtray, saying the cops are gonna come in any minute, telling Ashtray that he'll take the fall for killing Custer. He tells Ashtray to wipe the blood off of him as he goes to the laundry room and grabs a gun and bullets. Faye, Chloe Cherry, goes to the security monitor while Ashtray grabs a ton of guns, revealing he wants to make his stand, which Fesco tells him to stop. "Give me the gun, bro. Ash, I'm not gonna let nothing happen to you, no W, give me the gun, bro," Fesco tells him. Tears run down Ashtray's cheek as Chloe sees something. Nate is seen driving and loading his gun while drinking a beer, while Ashtray hits Faze in the head and locks the bathroom door. Nate parks his truck and gets out with the gun, walking up to his father's housing lot, finding Cal, Eric Bain, with a couple of guys and girls. Nate goes to give him a hug as they ask if that's really his son, as Cal says he gave him the best parts of him, as Nate makes a drink. Nate says that they have one thing in common, saying they both get off hurting people. Cal wants to talk about it upstairs but Nate doesn't want to, asking Cal if he's happy, as Cal adds he's figuring it out. He asks if he's happier now than when he was with his family, and Cal says, yes, in some ways. "You don't get to ruin our lives and get to move on and be happier," Nate tells him, as Cal admits he made a lot of mistakes. "I was 11 years old, I found these videos of my dad fucking these hookers in motel rooms," Nate says. He adds he had this recurring nightmare that he was effing him the way that he effed them. Cal thinks everyone should go so he can talk to his son as everyone takes off, leaving Nate and Cal alone. "I spent my whole life trying to protect you," Nate tells him, as Cal admits that he knows he hurt him and he tried to keep that part of his life separate and failed. "I effed up, Nate, but I love you." and I should have protected you, I should have kept you safe, and I didn't. And Terry's nothing I regret more, Cal says, as Jacob tries to process everything. I don't want your apology, Nate says, pulling out his gun. I just want revenge. He pulls out a thumb drive, as Cal asks what that is, and Nate says it's everything, as a car is heard pulling up. Cal asks Nate not to do this, I'm begging you. Don't do this, Cal says, as Nate says, you're who you are. I don't think you're ever gonna change, before walking away. Nate opens the door for a number of cops, who thank Nate for what he did, as the cops approach Cal and arrest him. Nate watches them put the cuffs on his old man before leaving. Back at Fesco's house, SWAT throws tear gas canisters in and breach the apartment. They approach the dead Custer, not knowing Hested, telling him to put his hands up before they find Fesco, who is yelling at them not to shoot, and there is a kid in there, screaming for Ash to come out. Ash starts firing from his bathtub, hitting Fesco in the gut as he drops to the ground and keeps yelling for Ash. Don't shoot. Ash? Come on. Get out of there. Please. Ash? Come on, Fesco says as Ash keeps firing through the bathroom door. Fesco keeps screaming as the cops return fire, shredding the apartment as Fes takes cover on the ground. Fesco keeps screaming for Ash but no one will answer as the cops start to approach the bathroom slowly. They open the door and find Ash straight down, as the cop says Hess down, before Ash pops up and shoots the cop in the neck. Ash sees the red dot of the rifle move up from his chest to his face as a shot is fired. The show cuts back to a younger Lexi at Rue's father's funeral, as Rue reads her tearful eulogy, saying her dad's death didn't feel real. It felt like a movie, and this is the part where the character never recovers. The part where life takes them down, as Rue watches the scene unfold on stage. This is the scene that scars her forever, Rue says, as we cut to Lexi and Susie and Cassie in the hospital, as Cassie and Lexi hug. She visits Rue's mother Leslie, Nika King, as Lexi is seen hugging both Leslie and Cassie, as Susie tells Lexi that her whole life she's been forced to take care of everyone. Back in the theater, Rue continues her eulogy as the family watches in the theater. Back at Fesco's, Fesco is arrested as the cops step on his plate ticket before taking him away. Rue says she remembered a few days before he passed away, that he told her if they ever wanted to be together, she just has to close her eyes and they would be together. Jules, Hunter Schafer, watches the scene unfold in the theater and looks towards Rue, who fights back tears herself. Rue is seen in her room as she gives Lexi a call, saying she thought her play was really beautiful. Lexi jokes that she might be the only person who thought that, as Rue asks what she's doing today and asks if she can come over. They hang up and Lexi smiles, as we cut back to younger Rue at her dad's funeral and that same scene unfolding on stage. Rue walks outside and finds her friends, as they ask how she's feeling and she says she's okay, as Rue watches from the crowd. Rue is at Lexi's house and she says her play is the first time she's able to look at her life and not hate herself. I've been through a lot and I don't know what to do with it, Rue tells Lexi, and she doesn't know how to get to where she is. I just wanted you to know that seeing it meant the world to me, Rue tells Lexi, who smiles at her old friend. Lexi asks if she thinks about her dad often, and Rue nods and Lexi says she does too. Rue says she had so much to learn from him and she's angry about it. Rue asks if Lexi is angry too, and she says it's more complicated, saying she was worried that if he came over something bad would happen. Rue says Lexi figured it out, as Rue says people told her that when her dad died that he died for a reason and that pissed her off. I think what they're trying to say is you've gotta give it a reason. You've gotta give everything a reason, Rue says. She adds she can't hold onto it forever, and it doesn't feel good, as Lexi wipes tears away. It's too much for me, Rue says before apologizing. Lexi, I promise you it's not always his fault. I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure he wakes up every day and says I'm gonna be better for her. I'm gonna be there for her. She adds that's part of the problem though, because he's only trying to be better for her. Lexi thanks Rue as she moves over and hugs her old friend. As we see the same moment play out on stage as the play comes to an end. The crowd erupts with applause as the curtain parts and the cast takes a bow. Meanwhile, Cassie is hanging out in the bathroom with Kat and Maddie, as Maddie puts a cold can of soda to her foot. Cassie says that Nate broke up with her before she ever went on that stage, as Maddie tells her, "Don't worry. This is just the beginning." Maddie gets up and walks out of the bathroom as people are filing out of the theater though Rue stays in her seat, still processing everything, as Jules stays too, going up to Rue and sitting next to her. "I know you're probably still really angry at me but I just wanted to tell you that I love you and I miss you so much," Jules says. While Rue won't look at her at first, she turns to Jules and kisses her on her forehead before walking out of the theater, leaving Jules sitting by herself. Rue walks into a dark hallway, saying in voice-over that Jules was her first love but has not sure because she was high for most of it, and she hopes she forgives her. She reveals she stayed clean for the rest of the school year, as she keeps walking through the school, saying, "I don't know if this feeling will last forever, but I'm trying." She walks out of the school, saying maybe Terry's something to Ali, saying the thought of becoming a good person is enough to make him want to be a good person. "Maybe Terry's something to that," Rue says as she walks away from the school as the episode and the second season of Euphoria comes to an end. Both Rue and Jules reunited briefly at the end of the second special episode, which were both set over Christmas, with this season premiere described as, Rue and Jules cross paths for the first time since Christmas as East Highland rings in the new year. Rue had relapsed after Jules left her at the train station in the Season 1 finale, with Rue revealing to her addict friend Ali, Colin and Domingo, during a Christmas Eve dinner that she didn't know if she wanted to be clean. And that she didn't even know if she wanted to be alive anymore. While she seemed like she was in a better headspace by the time Ali took her home, she got quite emotional while seeing Jules at the end of the second special episode. The latest trailer for the second season, though, showed that Rue does eventually dedicate herself to getting clean, seen walking into a meeting Ali is attending. The trailer also shows Jules reuniting with Rue, seemingly at a New Year's Eve party, asking her when she relapsed, but she doesn't answer. She's seen dragging along a roller bag suitcase, with Ali asking her the $64,000 question, "What's in the suitcase?" The suitcase is shown later being loaded up with drugs while Rue tells Fesco, Angus Cloud, that she has come up with an amazing plan. Rue is also seen meeting with a new character, Elliot, Dominic Fink, who at one point True says is her new favorite person. The trailer also teases some dramatic tension between Rue and her mother Leslie, Nika Bennett, and hints that the premiere takes place at a New Year's Eve party. The show also brings back returning regulars Eric Dane, Cal Jacobs, Jacob Elordi, Nate Jacobs, Algie Smith, Chris McKay, Sydney Sweeney, Cassie Howard, Alexa Demi, Maddie Perez, Barbie Ferreira, Kat Hernandez, Maud Apatow, Lexi Howard, Storm Reed, Gia Bennett, Austin Abrams, Ethan, and Javon Walton, Ashtray. New characters aside from Dominic Fike-Elliott, Minka Kelly is playing a drugged-out suburban housewife, while Demetrius Lil Meech Flannery Jr. plays a new love interest for Maddie. Euphoria's 8-episode second season airs Sunday nights at 9 p.m. ET on HBO.